Today's daf is daf Mem Aleph. We are going to begin the new perek, Ha'ish Mekadesh. Zog the Mishnah, Ha'ish Mekadesh boy ubeshluche. A man can be Mekadesh a woman either by himself or by sending a shliach. Ha'isha Mekadesh bo ubeshluche. A woman can become Mekudeshes by herself, or she could also send a shliach. Ha'ish Mekadesh is bitoi kishin naira. A man can be Mekadesh's daughter to a man when she is a naira, which is 12 to 12 and a half, either by himself or by a shliach. So the Gemara asks the obvious question that l'cha'ira hashta b'shluchim mekadesh, if one can be mekadesh a woman by a shliach, boy mi boy, is it necessary for the Mishnah to say that he can be mekadesh a woman by himself? So why would the Mishnah say that? Rabbi Yosef answers that the Mishnah is teaching us that mitzvah b'yesim b'shluchi, that it's more fitting for a mitzvah to be performed by the man himself than by a shliach. As Reb Safra would singe the head of an animal on Shabbos, Erev Shabbos, to prepare for it to be eaten, and Rava Malach Shibuta, Rava would actually salt like a type of fish to fulfill the mitzvah to prepare for Shabbos, although this could have been done by others. Iged Amri, are those who say that B'ha Yisuranami is Bo. With regards to the particular mitzvah of Kidushin, it also involves an Isser. Kedav Yehuda Marab, as he says, the Amr of Yehuda Marab, a man is not allowed to be Mekadesh a woman until he actually sees her. And maybe he will see something repulsive in her after the Kiddushin, and she will become repulsive to him, which will cause him to hate her. The Torah says, you have to love your neighbor as yourself. So the Chachamim ruled that a man has to be Mekadesh a woman in person and make sure that he approves of her. And if there's an Isser against a man being Mekadesh a woman by means of a Shliach, then when the Rabbi Yosef said the statement that it's preferable that the Kiddushin be performed without a Kiddushin, so the question is, so he says, Aseifa Itmar. It was stated with regards to the latter case of the Mishnah. A man can be Mekadesh a woman can be Mekudeshes by herself or by a Shliach. So Hashta b'shlucha Mekadesh bo miboy. Now, if she can send a Shliach, is it necessary to say that she could be Mekudeshes by herself? Rabbi Yosef, mitzvah yisum b'shlucha, that the mitzvah to be performed by the man, by the woman herself, is better than by a shliach. As we just said, the story that Rav Safra would himself singe the animal head, and Rabba would actually salt the fish. But in the case of the woman who makes a shliach, there's no Isser. Like Rish Lakish says, he says it's better to a woman, the woman have a saying, it's better to sit as two bodies, in other words, to be married, than to sit lonely like a widow. Once a woman has decided to marry, she will accept any man who's Mekadesh her, and there's no concern that she will find the guy repulsive and violate the mitzvah, so therefore she can send a shliach. The Mishnah said, Ish Mekadesh as bitoi kishin naira. A man can be Mekadesh's daughter to a man when she is a young woman. So the Gemara learns out, it's mashma that when she is a young woman, yes, he can be Mekadesh her. When she's a minor, he cannot. This statement is support for Rav. The Amr of Yudam Rav, Temer of Elazar, also Lodom Shikadesh Spitik Shiktano, Achetigdo Betemer, Bepleniani, so that a man cannot be Mekadesh a young girl, his daughter, until she grows up and says, I want to marry so and so. If a father is Mekadesh's daughter when she's a minor and incapable of forming an opinion of the husband, she may later find herself married to someone she does not like. Now, Mishnah asks, Shlichus minalan. From where do we know that there's B'chal idea of Shlichus? The Tanya, we learned that a brisa. The pasuk says v'shilach. Then it says, with regards to a person that divorces his wife, writes a divorce for her and gives it a get and sends her out of the house. So the Torah says v'shilach, and he sends her. The fact that the pasuk uses the term v'shilach, let's say it uses a vigorsha. What's v'shilach? Melamed shehu oiser shliach, teaches that he can appoint a shliach. The husband does not have the person to give the wife a get. Now, the fact that the Torah uses v'shilcha and sends her, lamashi oiser shliach, teaches us she could also go to appoint a shliach to accept the get. V'shilach v'shilcha teaches us lamashi shliach oiser shliach, the shliach can appoint another shliach. So where it says ashkechon begedushin, you found the source in regards to divorce, Kidushin, and where do you know in regards to Kidushin? You're going to say the other Kidushin. So if you're going to say, let me learn from Kidushin, so it says, L'cheda ma Kidushin shekin yesh le bal korcha. Kidushin is bal korcha. So Markara, he says, v'yatsa v'hesa. There it says, v'yatsa v'hesa. Ma kashavay litzia, ma yitzia m'shavish. They're just like in regards to Gitin, you can appoint a shliach. Afavoy yanam m'shavish shliach. So too, when it comes to Avoy, also you can appoint a shliach. So the Gemara says, well, but this time we learned in the Mishnah. In the case of somebody who says to the shliach, tzei troim, in case of somebody who says to the shliach, go out and separate truma from my field's produce for me. Tradim kedas balabayis, the Mishnah says he has to separate in accordance with the mites of the owner. He has to separate the amount that he assumes the owner would want to give. He says there's no fixed amount to send by truma. So a generous person, let's say, would give one out of every 40th, while a stingy person gives 1 of 60th. Now, if he doesn't know, das balabayis, he does 1 over every 50. Piches asara heisav asara, if the shliach subtracted 10, let's say from the denominator of the 140th, or added 10 of the 60th, let's say giving more or less than what the owner intended, truma say truma. The truma is truma. From me, no, where do I know that a person can appoint a shliach to separate truma? Let me learn out from Gershon. Divorce is considered it's not a sacred matter in relation to the truma. So you can't learn from divorce that one can appoint a shliach to separate truma, which is a heda kazach. Makra atem gamatem, the rabbi says shliach. I learn now from you gamatem, which includes a shliach. I let the Torah write a passage concerning truma that one could appoint a shliach, and the halacha that one can appoint a shliach on his behalf, and I can learn out in the other matters, divorce and Kidushin. So he says, Mishum ikon mifrach, you can make a pircha, you can refute and say, shkiyesh ta machshava. The truma is different in that a person is able to separate by a mere thought. It's enough for one to decide that a certain portion of the truma shall be truma to have the status take effect. Just as there is a kula unique separating truma, perhaps the leniency that enables one to appoint a shliach is also unique in separating truma. Now, so the Gemara now further clarifies the walker of shlichus. Generally, the Korban Pesach was brought by a group of people together. While the Tanamba we learned, Chabura Shabbat Pischa, a group whose Korban Pesach was lost before it was shechted, and they said to one of the members of the group, say ubakish shchetolenu, go and search our Korban Pesach, and when you find it shechted on our behalf, so now, they said, there's a group of people that they lost the Korban Pesach. They said to one of the members, go and search for our Korban Pesach. When you find it shechted on our behalf of this person. So what happened? This person went, he found a lost animal and shechted on behalf of the entire group. Now, what happened? In the meanwhile, they were despairing of the return. They took a different Korban Pesach and they shechted it. So if the Korban Pesach was shechted first, he eats from his Korban Pesach and they eat from and drink with him. So what do you see from here? That one can act as a shliach to shech the Korban Pesach. So if I mean Allah, where do we know this? Chitem in the Yol of Mahanach. And if you're going to say that you learn it from there, from divorce and Truma, this is considered non-sacred compared to carbon, compared to kachim. Answer is nafkalam. Adam yishum karcham. Yishum karcham. Now shluch shalom kamaisi. How do we know shluch shalom kamaisi? Shenemar shchot isik alkohol. That's yisrael ben arbaim. And those who assemble on the congregation of Yibnei Yisrael shall shecht it in the afternoon. He called kahal kula sheitim. There's the whole kahal shecht the garden Pesach. While in shecht left, only one person shechs it. Elamikan shluch shalom kamaisi. Remember, we learned that a person's agent is like him himself. So the Gemara says, "Nifta rachmana bekachim." Why doesn't the Torah write Hashlichus works by kachim? And I can learn out Kidushin and the words of Truma can be derived from there. The Gemara says, because the majority of their actions are performed by means of a shliach. Since most of the karbonis is performed by kainim, who serve as shluchim of those who bring the carbon, the general shlichus cannot be derived from there. So this says like this. So the Gemara says, "Chad mahanach le'aisi." The halacha shluchus cannot be derived for any of these from any other one. But you should derive one of these from the other two. So where it says hey tasi, which of them should be derived from the other? Where it says like nifta rachmana bekachim, but let the Torah not write the halacha of shlichus with regards to karbonis and derive shlichus with regards to karbonis from Gershon and Shlomo. He says malahanosh ken yesh nechil itzel kachim. These are considered chil with regards to kachim. The Gemara says like nichta rachmana begershon v'teisim hanach. So don't write by Gershon, learn from there. Alash ken yesh mashava works. Alin nichta rachmana betruma v'teisim hanach. So the Gemara answers and says, Achanami. Indeed, this is it has the derivation of shlichus to truma. Whereas atem gamatem lamali, so what do I need this for? But look at the gamatem matem b'nibris, just as the members of the b'nibris, afshul chacham b'nibris has to be a yid. A goy cannot be a shliach for truma. Where it says halamali kra, what do you have a pasuk with the b'chia bar abba amar Rabbi Yechon nafka? Why do you have a pasuk? It's derived from what he says. I'm Rabbi Rabbi Yechon. Ain't ever nasser still. The couple get beyond by the shliach. The priest never tears get the Kidushin. A slave cannot become a shliach to receive a get from a hand of a woman's husband on her behalf because he's not including the halachas of divorce and Kidushin. This teaches us that there is a principle that if certain matters do not apply to a person, he cannot act as a shliach with regard to those matters. Therefore, since goyim are not commanded to separate truma, they cannot be shluchim. So my answer is itzrach. It is nevertheless necessary to derive these halachas for the case of truma. So that is a min an eved. It would enter in your mind. Eved, the lav baratida klal, since a slave who cannot serve as a shliach to receive the get, since he cannot release the woman by divorce at all, but since he's including his own truma, words from Kamashmalan does. If Shimon the potter, and according to Shimon, who exempts one from paying an additional penalty, the truma of a goy, so this explanation cannot be stated. The trumas nochem the mas v'chayim lechem of Shimon Peter. So the question is atem gamatem lomali. Answer is itzrach. So that atem v'le'arisen. Since there says you, which is interpreted as you, but not your sharecropper, can separate truma. So sharecropper cannot separate truma from the produce of the owner of the field. Atem, but they shoot from you, can separate truma, not your partners, from shared property without the consent of the other. Atem, but the apitropos, you, and not the apitropos from the state that he is administering. Atem, but the machine shaloi. You would not want to separate truma from produce as not his. Atem leishtochachem nami. So kamashmalan. Therefore, the pasuk teaches us that you also is mashma that one can appoint a shtel to separate truma. So where it poses a question in regards to the hanich l'Rebbe Shua ben Karcha. Ella Rabbi Yechon the mapik l'laikla the Rosh Hashanah. Eitan Rabbi Yechon is some name where na'ishkol yisrael kul niyetzim. For what do you know that all the Yidden can fulfill their obligation? Pesach, one korban Pesach. Although it's impossible for all the Yidden to eat one kazayis from one offering, they nevertheless fulfill their obligation to shech the korban offering by one animal. From where, but only one from each group shechs. Rather, it can be learned from here that all Yidden can fulfill the obligation of one korban Pesach. Since Rabbi S learns this, that one can offer korban, that one's korban is enough. From where does he derive the halacha of shlichus with regards to the korbanos? He says, "Minei." He derives it from the very same pasuk. It can be seen that one person shechs the animal on behalf of the rest of the congregation. But perhaps it's different there. The easily shutvis b'gavayo, since the one shechting the animal has partnership with him. It's not proof that the shlichus, that there is shlichus when shlichus has no share of the korban.